Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to touch on a couple of issues that I have been dealing with and trying to make sense of. If we don't control immigration, a few things happen. We get criminals sneaking into the country amongst those that actually qualify to be here. Now there's a lengthy period for people to get approved to be able to stay in the United States and eventually have a path to citizenship. Now, if we don't control immigration, you're going to have mass migration like we've had in the last 4 years under the administration of Joe Biden. It's very embarrassing. What happens when you have mass migration? The states, the country itself, does not have time to catch up to the level of economy or housing availability or work availability. Now you can argue and say, well, there's a lot of jobs that Americans don't want to do, and so, migrants do those jobs for less money. I think it ruins economies, it destroys housing affordability, and then the price of living goes up, and it affects everybody. It doesn't just affect the American citizens of this country, it affects those immigrants that have come here a long time ago and are still waiting for their paperwork to go through. Because of mass migrations, they are losing their opportunity to become American citizens. I myself, I didn't want to become an American citizen because I thought at some point I'm just going to go back to my country. So I held my green card for almost over 20 years. And one of them is I don't like to make decisions that will have bad consequences. And I think a lot of people that come to this country, they get a visa, get green card, become citizens, and they just take it for granted. I get it. As an American citizen, you get a lot more rights. You get to vote. You get to hear your voice heard. This is what happens with migration to the country. People abuse the law. If they are willing to break the law to come into this country, they are willing to break any other law. Because once you break the law with the reasoning or the excuse that, well, you are in need and you got to have it, I think at that point, we start just crumbling down. And it's a moral thing. Now, I know a lot of people don't believe in the Bible. A lot of people don't even believe in God at all. Or so they say. They got to believe in one, whether the good one or the bad one. Doesn't matter. Now, in this country, we have freedom of religion, and that's okay. Now, I mention freedom of religion because in this country, it was founded under God, indivisible. That means all of us together, United States, with justice for all. Now, what it means justice for all is all justice, everybody in the country, whether are citizens or not. I agree. This is constitutional. All persons are due process. Now, what is due process? To me, due process, the significance or the meaning of it is that you have the right to a court hearing, you have the right to be represented, and you have the right to be heard. If you are from the get-go coming into this country illegally and you don't have documents to stay in this country, your due process is to present the documents that you have, and even though we already know that the person is illegal, there is nothing to back up for them having permission to stay here. Therefore, they get revoked access to stay in this country and they have to be deported. That's due process. What is the problem with our system today? When I was growing up, early 80s, I heard of women coming to this country to get pregnant, to make anchor babies. Now, we have a constitutional right that if you're born in this country, you are an automatic citizen. I found out when I became a citizen, the moment that I was declared or given the privilege to be an American citizen, any child, because of my naturalization as a citizen, any child that I may have made anywhere in the world, pending a paternity test, are automatically American citizens. It doesn't matter where they're born, but because I'm the father and I am a naturalized American citizen, I am recognized as if I was born in this country. Maybe to a point. I tell you this because when people come here and make kids. The kids become American citizens by birth. But the reality to me, it makes sense that if the United States has a law or a rule that any child that I have now being a citizen, they come to the United States where I live. So it's logical to me to say that any parents that are illegal that have kids here, they get deported and the kids go with them. That's just logic, common sense to me. Now you can disagree, that's okay. We're entitled to our own opinion. Leave your message and your comment down below and let me know why you think that I'm wrong. Now, we do have due process. But when you have a criminal person with a criminal record, and you have people that have been deported 2, 3, 4, even 10 times, I can't believe this, they are still due process? You gotta be stupid if you think that these people haven't had due process. You already been deported multiple times. You are in the record. You got fingerprints. We got everything. We got the fact. We don't need a judge to tell us that somebody is illegal. The Democrat and the left-wing media, and I can't believe that in today and age, I am actually talking like this about media and Democrat. For the longest time, I always thought Democrats and Republicans were just two different parties with some different ideologies or ideas, but they would fight to bring the best person to lead the country. And the Democratic Party has lost that. And even some Republicans have lost their minds. Let me just get to the point of migration problem. Right now, we have, for example, Palestinian protesters. They hate Israel. They don't want them to be alive in this world. From the river to the sea, they want to just wipe them completely off the map. But when they're protesting, they say, stop genocide in Gaza. Really? You hypocrite? Freedom of speech is one thing. And I believe that freedom of speech belongs to the American citizens, maybe residents. But I believe that's right for Americans, not for foreigners. You come over here and start insulting our people, that's not how it works. And that's just me. I know that might be unconstitutional, but we need to have somebody that will protect this country, that will actually take the initiative to defend its American citizens. And this is why I support Trump, because he's doing that. Now, if I was a foreigner and I wanted to cause harm to the United States, I go to the history. And what do I find in history? I find that China was not as big as it is today by being good emperors, by being good people, helping other people. Let me tell you how China became a big China, a Republic of China. China was this small on the map to me. And then they acquired this and this and this and this, and now it's a big China. Tibet was one of them. Was not Chinese. So what do? They know that they could not come in there and just kill everybody and take over. And no. What did they do? They made some peace agreements with these people, and then they started to flood in Chinese citizens into Tibet, into these other areas, to the northwest, to the southwest, to the east, and they started flooding a lot of Chinese citizens to the point where when it came time to vote or get some type of idea of say, okay, well, this is our country now. Now there's so many Chinese citizens throughout all these territories that they had no choice but to give in. The majority wins, and it supports the government, right? Now, that's imperialism. I understand that, but check out what's happening today in our country. We have these foreigners on student visas. Now, to have a student visa, there is a requirement that you have to follow. You cannot be an activist. You have to respect our law. The student visa is for you to come here, study, get your degree, and go back to your country and do what you need to do to help your country. Now, if you are given path to residency, you still have to respect the laws. As a matter of fact, one of the requirements for having a residency green card is that you're going to respect the law and you're going to abide by the rules of this nation. And so if you get a green card and you think all of a sudden now you have the right to go and free speech, which you're using it as a hate speech, to be honest, and that's a hate crime, especially when you're vandalizing, you're destroying property, when you're physically harming other, whether citizens or just persons in these states. You are now becoming the problem of the United States. So step one, to destroy this country, get a student visa or a tourist visa, and then become a resident. Become a resident, and then you become a citizen. Why is it important to become a citizen? As a visa, you're a visitor. You got no other rights than to just come in here and have fun and do whatever you're going to do legally in this country. Second, as a resident, now you have your freedom of speech protected, and then now you can actually go in and out of the country whenever you want. You don't need to have an extra visa to renew on your passport, blah, blah, blah. You have up to 2 years to be able to leave the country, I believe, without having to check back in the nation. But once you become a citizen, that's when you have the whole freedom of speech and everything else that goes with the privilege and honor of being an American citizen. And here's the catch. In order for you to become a citizen, now, I don't know if they still have dual citizenship for people, but that should go away. They should scratch that out. They should get rid of that crap. That is not good for Americans. It's very anti-patriotic, and it gives you double standards for people that are actually in this country. So what happens when you become a naturalized citizen? You have to first know who the president is of the United States of America. You got to know, about the Constitution. You got to know about the House of Representatives. Most people that don't speak English, they make it easier for them to pass this questionnaire. And then you have to swear. You have to make an oath. And the oath is that once you become a citizen in this country, you are rejecting every other belief, rules governing over you. As in, anything that you believed in your country, it stays in your country. You no longer have to represent them. You no longer have any responsibility with them. You are pretty much denying everything to do with that country. You're swearing an allegiance to become an American citizen and be productive for the United States of America. And so what happens with these people? They become American citizens not to honor that oath. We have Ilhan Omar. We have a reporter asking him, or a journalist, or a person asking her a question if they thought this was right and blah, blah, blah. Her response, F off. Come on. Simple answer. Yes or no, or this is what I think, right? Right to freedom of the press. They should respect that. The person was not being over intrusive. They were calmly asking the question. They want to know. We want to know. And her reaction is like, F off, right? You know why? Because they don't give a crap about you or me. They don't care about the American citizens. All they do is care about the money that they make and what can they do for the real country. They support the countries that they come from. And that's a big problem. As Americans, as the United States, we support a lot of countries. But the fact of the matter is, we have some reservations, and we have to put America first. Claive, you may have seen a video that I put. I added a clip where she was telling everybody on a party with a microphone that they were going to impeach them. They were going to impeach Donald Trump right away. This tells me that they don't believe in democracy. Donald Trump won fair and square. We put him in office. Well, I didn't put him in office the first time. I was not a citizen yet. But it was President Trump's video that said, welcome to the United States of American citizenship. And I appreciate that. But the second term, obviously I voted for him. And the third time, I voted for him. Being that I live in a blue state, in Washington State, it's very difficult for us to win. It's the majority here is Democrats, almost 60% Democrats. So it's hard for us to really have our voices heard, even though we are American citizens and we're supposed to be heard by our government. They don't care. Once a Democrat is in office, they don't care what we need or what we want. Going back to my point with these migrants becoming citizens, and that they, as soon as they get a paper, as soon as they get a green card, as soon as they become citizens, all of a sudden they're over there instigating violence, anti-Semitism against the Jews. Do you know why this country has been as blessed as it has been? This country has been blessed as it has been because it has always stood up for good American values and has always submitted to God. Now, there's a lot of people that don't, but because of the very few that do, God blesses this land. And when do we get more blessed? When we support and help Israel. That is his chosen people, whether people like it or not. I can be jealous about it and say, wait a minute, I don't care. Who cares about the Jews? I care about myself and taking care of the people that are with me. But you can't be selfish. It is the truth. I feel it in my spirit. It is the faith that I have, that even though a lot of Israelites don't deserve to be blessed, don't deserve to be called children of God, it is what it is. It is their descendancy. It is a blessing that was given to Abraham for generations and generations to come. All the Muslims, all the sons of the slave Egyptian that Abraham made a son with, Ishmael, they are also sons of Abraham, and therefore they do have an inheritance, and they also should be blessed. And they were also promised that they will multiply and they will have all these blessings, and they have. And that's why you have a lot of Arabs and all these other countries that are just multi-rich, just rich, today. And unfortunately, that's about as much blessings as they're going to have, because if they stop really believing in God, all the wealth that they have acquired, that is already their reward. But I go all over the place. But let me get back to this. They become citizens of this country. They do these little riots. They instigate people, right? And what happens? The leaders that are terrorists, that are trying to harm us, they're the ones that benefit, because these guys see the division in the United States. And I see a lot of mental issues. Guys, we all have problems up here. Like, I'm not as patient as I used to be. Now, I have always been a fair man. I've always tried to have justice, and I've always tried to be a good person. I've always defended the little ones. Now, I'm not a big guy. I mean, I am 6 feet tall, almost 6'1". Okay, I weigh 280 pounds. I have always stood up for the smaller people, I remember this one story, and I'll get back to this migration problem and how the countries take over our nation. I remember when I was a senior, I used to work out twice a day, play football and soccer and all this other stuff. I remember I was in the locker room, just, changing for my last 2 periods of class. And this freshman kid, he was being bullied by another senior, and had him against the wall, and for 50 cents, guys, 50 cents, And so this guy has him on there, and so I protect him. And then I go and, to the locker room to change. And then he looks at me, and I see him, and he says to me, "When I grow up, I want to be just like you." And I looked at him, and I just, just rubbed his head down here. And I just said, "You don't want to be like me." I said, "You want to be better than me." So that's the American dream to me. It's a person that supports others, that protects others, and it's also wishing for them to be better, to be prosperous. I'm always wanting people to be prosperous. Of course, I want to be prosperous, but I'm always wanting other people to be prosperous. And the people that come to this country to become citizens, they don't want that for Americans. They say they want to come here to live the American dream, but instead of living the American dream, they bring the garbage from their trash countries in here. They use their religion to destroy our American citizens' rights to live free. And they try to bring religion, just like they have in the past with Christianity and all this other stuff. But Muslims are doing that. Now, I have a Bible and I have a Quran. I have a Bible, and of course, it's in Spanish and English. I used to be a pastor, but I study this a lot, English and Spanish. And I also have the Quran. Did you know that nothing in this book tells Muslims to kill Americans and to hate Jews? They do acknowledge that Jesus was a prophet. And what happened when Jesus was on this earth? He came and preached against the rabbi that were saying the commandments, yet they were not following them. They do all this bad stuff to oppress the people. And so all religions have done this. And it's happened in this country. But by the grace of God, we have been under God, and we have been protected under God. What I find interesting in the stories of the Bible is that for a very few, a lot get blessed. And so what do we need to do with this migration? There is some countries that do not allow naturalized citizens, people that come from other countries that have a very religious, strong culture where there's a lot of violence. They don't allow them to be in government. And I agree with that. Why? Because we have people like Ilhan Omar. We have people like Tlaib. These people hate America. They say they like America, but they only do that because they get the money from America. But in reality, they're raising the Palestinian flag, they're raising their other country's flag, and the United States flag, like this beautiful flag behind me with this eagle, they burn it. They don't care. Have them burn the Palestinian flag in public and see what they do to them. See what Palestinians do to them. Supporting Hamas is not good. These college people come to take advantage of our country, and the giving and the supporting and the loving attitude of the Americans. They abuse it to their will. And I see Americans, I don't know how, but they look so stupid to me. I see Americans supporting these terrorist supporters like as if it's a good thing. You're supporting evil. How can you not support something that wants lives to thrive and be prosperous? So many nations hate Israel, and the United States. But Israel doesn't want genocide. Israel doesn't want to destroy or wipe them out of the face of the earth. In history, Palestinians have received a lot of grace from God. And there's a lot of beautiful Palestinian people out there that are not Hamas. There is people that have come out of Hamas against Hamas. One thing that you don't see on the news here in the United States, mothers crying with their children, dead children, in their arms. And what's curious is that here in America, they make it look like Israel is evil and destructive. Even China is trying to get a piece on Israel. Psst, China, are you freaking kidding me? They have killed more people on this earth than Hitler. And their people, not just around the world, their people, they don't care. The Palestinians that are suffering over there are telling people that if they see a Hamas supporter, to cut their heads off, to rip their throats out. And I'm listening to mothers crying with their children dead in their arms. That is crazy. If you're an American and you support this terrorist group, their blood is in your hands. And I hope that means something to you, because hopefully you change that for the future. Now I want to go ahead and leave that there. I think that if you allow these radical activists, people in our country, do not give them citizenship. Residency is more than enough. It's a privilege. And the problem is that once they become citizens, they abuse that privilege. I've always thought that you had to merit to gain access to citizenship. And how do you do that? By proving that being a resident, you are the most desirable citizen material to have in this country. But these people, as soon as they get a green card, they're stupid. Right away, they show their true colors. The American system still gives them a citizenship. How is that? Is that possible? It's unbelievable. It's beyond me. With that, let's just say, that's how countries invade. They want to migrate first, get a visa to get here. Sometimes they have to come illegally and they have to come through Mexico. But having them become a citizen is a big mistake, because then they have a right to say, we're American citizens and we deserve this and we have this, and stop them. Don't give them citizenship. Keep all these activists residency if you want. That way they can travel back and forth between our countries. They still have to renew a stamp on their passports, but they don't need permission to go back and forth. Don't give them citizenship. That's my final point. In 1985, Dearborn, Michigan had a Palestinian population of around 400, making up to 8% of the city's total population and 12% of its Arab population. A survey estimated that constituted over 3/4 of the 5,000 plus population in the South End area at that time. In more recent years, Michigan, particularly Metro Detroit, has seen a significant presence of Arab Americans, including Palestinians. A 2019 U.S. Census estimated that Lebanese Americans were the largest ethnic group, followed by the Yemeni Americans. Dearborn became the first Arab majority city in the U.S. in 2023, with roughly 55% of its residents claiming Middle Eastern or North African ancestry. While the exact number of Palestinians in Michigan is not readily available, it's clear that the region has substantial Palestinian population, primarily concentrated in areas like Dearborn and other parts of Metro Detroit. There's also a pro-Palestinian student organization, Tahrir Coalition, at the University of Michigan. This is proof that they are invading and multiplying to grow against the United States values and beliefs.